Hi guys, welcome to OG Cars, and today we are working on the 1974 Wartburg Knight. When we got back from Ireland, I did an inspection on this car and there were a few things that it needed. So I've managed to get a few bits. This here is a Bosch, I say alternator belt, but it's actually a dynamo belt because that's what we're running on here. We've got two rear wheel cylinders because they're both starting to leak. I've just done this job on the Twingo and I had to do it on my last 353 as well, so that's all well and good. We've got a thermostat here. I don't know if we're going to be fitting that yet because I think everything with the cooling system is okay at the moment, so I'm not going to touch it if it's not broken, but I have it spare for when we need it. New wiper blades. I've got 3 new spark plugs because the old ones there are getting a bit well, they look pretty warm from the outside as well, so God knows what they look like when they come out, but we'll find out. And I've got a new fuel filter as well to fit, so yeah, we've got a few things to do. The battery light is currently illuminated permanently, so I want to look at that as well. Obviously I'm changing the belt, but what I want to do while I'm doing that is just clean up the connections on the end of the dynamo and up here. Firstly, I'm going to disconnect the battery, just so that we don't have any problems when we're touching all the dynamo wiring and everything. Brown on the left side, blue on the right side. We'll clean up the inside of them, clean up the spades there, and chuck them back on this end. The ends of these look okay. I've just cleaned them out with a bit of WD-40 and scraped anything out with a screwdriver, but they were mostly clean. And the contacts here, I've just gone over with a wire brush, just finishing there. But yeah, just very lightly going over the terminals there, and they all seem fine. Sprayed a bit of WD-40 on them as well. So yeah, we're all good to put everything back on there. So if we pop our wiring back down where it should be, then we can put on the brown wire on the left and put on the blue wire on the right, like so. I've just removed all of these terminals and cleaned all of those as well. They all seem okay too, to be fair, so I've put them all back together. I cleaned up this chocolate block connector as well. But yeah, we've done everything we can on that bit there, so we're just going to change the belt now and we'll check on the battery light issue later. So the fan belt is only connected at the bottom there on the crank, at the top there on the fan pulley, and across here on the dynamo. So all I have to do is loosen off the dynamo, move it across, and then take the belt off the front and put the other one on. So there's a 17mm bolt here that I have to undo, and a 13mm bolt further in towards the engine. I'll undo both of those now and move the dynamo up towards the engine to create the slack where the belt can then be removed. Also, don't forget, because I just did, but there's a bolt there on the back of the dynamo as well that you have to undo to get it to move as well. Then the jiggle, let's get it, there we go, old belt out. So here's our new Bosch one. They're both 1150, so we know the right size. So yeah, it's a Bosch made in China, but this old one is an old made in UK, EBC. So yeah, must be pretty knackered. It was a bit perished, as you can see there, so I figured it was worth changing anyway. The old belt must have been really quite worn, because this one, even though it's posted at the same size, I had to get the dynamo much higher to fit this one on. So now I've managed to slip it on, I've tensioned it and done up all the bolts, so we've got a fresh new belt on there. Next up, we're going to change the spark plugs. I've got these, which have been recommended by the club. They're NGK B7HS spark plugs, and yeah, they're still readily available on eBay, so that's fine. That alternator belt I got on auto dock, as with the rest of the bits. So yeah, I've just let these soak in WD-40 for a little while, so I'm just going to clean them up, take these leads off, and then undo them and change them for the new ones. Just giving it a quick wipe out in the top here. It's a bit dirty around the sealing points there, but yeah, here's our old ones versus the new ones. Certainly worth a change, I think. But yeah, they're NGK B7HS already, so it's getting the same thing, just much more refreshed. The new plugs and the leads are on now. Unfortunately, cylinder number 3, or 1, we'll call it 3, going that way. Cylinder number 3, the threads are not very good. So that's great, but it did actually tighten up right at the end. So I used one that had a crushed up seal from when I did 1 and 2, moved it over and tightened it up, and thought, well, you know, what's the worst that can happen? Is it going to shoot out? Yeah, maybe. So I decided to start it up, and it's actually running much better now with the new plugs in, so those old ones must have really been drawing it back. Unfortunately, the battery light is still on, so I need to have another look at that. I'm going to try looking at the battery on a multimeter while it's running at some point. But yeah, it's running on by part of the last of its thread, and even at full revs it still stays in. So until I can be bothered to change the cylinder head for one of the spare ones, then this will do, I suppose. But yeah, not ideal, but it's working so far. I appear to have done the belt and the plugs and still not fixed that and broken more of that, so you know how it goes, guys. Well, nothing too exciting with the blades. Just pop them off and pop them on, basically. The new ones are Champions, and actually the old ones are Champions as well. They're the old style logo, but yeah, I'm just going to pop off that style clip and put this covered one on, and then snap it back on. Right, there we go. New wiper blades are on. So the thermostat I'm going to reserve for when I do eventually change the cylinder head, whenever that may be. I do need to order up a head gasket if I'm going to do that anyway, but we'll see how the rest goes for now anyway. But the rear wheel cylinders, the fuel filter, and the exhaust that I want to look at are all underneath. So what I'm going to do is call it quits while I'm ahead, not because I'm breaking everything, but yeah, we'll look at the rest in the next video. So thanks very much for following this video, and like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.